You know, for decades, when you thought of the Gulf states, a few things probably came to mind. Vast deserts, unbelievable oil wealth, and their role as, well, the world's gas station. But that picture, it's changing, and it's changing way faster than you might think. We're going to break down their ambitious new playbook right now.
I mean, seriously, what if the story of the 21st century, the one about tech, finance, and global power, isn't just being written in Silicon Valley or Shanghai, but also in Riyadh, Dubai, and Doha? That's the real question at the heart of this new playbook we're about to dive into.
Okay, so to really get where the Gulf is going, we first have to understand where it's been. For the better part of a century, its entire economy was defined by one single thing: oil.
Now there's a term for this, a resource-dependent economy. And look, it's an incredibly powerful place to be when the world desperately needs what you've got, but it's also incredibly vulnerable. I mean, when your whole national budget is tied to the crazy ups and downs of one commodity's price, you are basically strapped into a roller coaster you can't control.
And just look at the sheer scale of that dependence. Before this recent push to change things up, oil made up an average of 75% of Saudi Arabia's entire government revenue. Think about that, 3 out of every $4 coming in. That kind of reliance is a massive strategic risk, and the region's leaders knew it just couldn't last forever.
So, the idea of changing things up isn't exactly new, but a series of recent global shocks, well, they totally raise the stakes and slam the accelerator on the timeline, creating the perfect moment for a huge strategic pivot.
This image right here captures a massive geopolitical shift. When Russia invaded Ukraine, it didn't just start a war, it basically turned its gas supply to Europe into a weapon. All of a sudden, European nations were scrambling, desperate for a new, dependable source of energy. And guess where all eyes turned? Right to Qatar, a giant in liquefied natural gas, or LNG.
And this was Qatar's moment to shine. The country's energy minister made their strategy crystal clear with this quote: "While Russia was seen as playing politics with its energy, Qatar positioned itself as the total opposite, a totally depoliticized, absolutely reliable partner." And they proved it too, by continuing to supply gas to the UAE even when the two countries were in the middle of a major diplomatic feud. So, and this is the really crucial point. The energy crisis created this massive flood of demand and cash, but it didn't create the ambition to change. That was already there. The crisis simply provided the money and the urgency to pour gasoline on a fire that was already burning. All right, so this brings us to the very core of the new playbook. This isn't just about finding new customers for oil and gas. No, this is about using that money to build entirely new economies that one day won't need oil at all. Two huge projects are leading this charge. On one side, you have Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. I mean, this plan is so monumental, it's aiming to remake its entire society and become a global hub for investment. And then on the other side, you've got the UAE's AI Strategy 2031, a super-focused bet to become a world leader in artificial intelligence. They're different, sure, but they share the exact same audacious goal, a future that has nothing to do with fossil fuels.
And the scale of this ambition, it's just staggering. The UAE thinks its AI strategy alone could boost its economic output by 335 billion dirhams. We're not talking about a side project here. This is a fundamental bet on a whole new economic engine for the entire country.
So what does this actually look like on the ground? Well, it means building entire new industries basically from scratch. We're talking a huge push into tourism and entertainment. Think concerts and movie theaters popping up where there were none before. It's about building world-class tech hubs, boosting non-oil exports, and, crucially, bringing more women into the workforce to power this whole new economy.
Now, this massive economic transformation isn't happening in a vacuum. There's an equally profound geopolitical shift happening right alongside it. As the Gulf states are rewriting their economic playbook, they're also rewriting their list of go-to partners.
This chart tells a really simple but powerful story. It used to be that the Gulf's energy exports were mostly heading west. But today, a whopping 70% flows to the booming economies of Asia. The center of economic gravity for the Gulf has, without a doubt, shifted eastward.
But hey, this isn't just about following the money. It's a deliberate strategy. It's about building a whole new network of influence so they're not dependent on any single global power. That's exactly why we're seeing moves like Saudi Arabia and the UAE getting invited to join the BRICS Plus group of nations, which includes powers like China, India, and Russia. They are actively diversifying their friendships beyond that traditional reliance on the West.
And this is the new reality they are both adapting to and helping to create. It's what people call a multipolar world. Basically, a world where influence isn't just in Washington or Beijing, but it's spread out across a whole network of rising powers. And the Gulf states? They aren't just reacting to this world, they are positioning themselves to be essential connection points within it.
Okay, so when you put all these pieces together, the economic diversification, the geopolitical pivot, a new picture of the Gulf's future role really starts to come into focus.
So here's the playbook, all summed up. Step 1, they use their energy strength to their advantage during a global crisis. Step 2, they're funneling those insane profits into future-proof industries like tech and tourism. Step 3, they're building new strategic friendships, especially in the East. And the end goal of all this? To transform from a simple resource exporter into a global crossroads, a central hub connecting the money, talent, and technology of Asia, Europe, and Africa.
Look, this isn't just a small pivot. This is a calculated multi-trillion-dollar bet on a completely new future. The Gulf is transforming from a player in just one market, energy, to becoming an architect of new markets, new alliances, and new connections. So the question is no longer if this will change the world, but how. And as their new playbook unfolds, believe me, it's going to reshape not just their future, but ours as well.